audience on YouTube, but that was like a few months back. So
no,
we're like grassroots on YouTube.
Hey, listen, that's how it starts, man.
Yeah.
You catch up. I like this. Soundproof or these are
Sound acoustic board. Just kind of dampen the noise. Yeah.
Oh, it's pretty. So I need to create one of these.
Yeah.
Like a room.
Let me do it.
Yeah. So I just have to create the space for it, and then because I'm doing some of that. I have to do it. Some of the I do Zoom to Vegas, right? So the room is not like really set up, so then it's not really good. All the show that they have. I'm now twice a month. I'm there. Every other week I'm doing a show on ABC. So and then they want weekly, and then they want podcasts. So a couple other places. So it's like I just don't have the time for it. But if you have a room, makes it easier.
Yeah, and a setup like this is, it can be sort of. It can seem like a lot, but it's really not. Like all parts moving, it's not a whole lot of. Not a whole lot, but if you have,
I love the setup is there, so I don't have, you don't have to set it up every time. It's there, it's professional, it looks beautiful, it looks clean, and that's what it is. That's what you need. You can have gas. It looks.
Thank you.
This looks really cool.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I like this touch.
Thank you. Man.
Yeah, that's very good.
Valor has a good setup, like that setup right there with that microphone coming down.
No. This is more of personal.
Yes.
I like this.
Intimate,
intimate, and it's really nice. So no, you did a great job.
And that's the thing, I appreciate that, and that's important for the viewers to have a perspective. We have two cameras toggling, so they'll flip every 15 seconds.
Oh, nice.
So this one is going to be more predicated on you, and then this one's both of us.
I went to do BuzzFeed, so I did an episode with BuzzFeed.
Okay.
So I'm driving in LA. Must have passed the front of it, BuzzFeed, like 20 times. I was like, no, it can't be here. It can't be here. That building is shithole, right? Like homeless around it. It's just bad. Really? So I walked in. It's a dingy room. I walk in, and that's the studio. It's a small little place, dingy, but they have beautiful lights and couch and everything looks like. So if you just go like that, you'd be like, hell no, I'm not coming here. But they just have. But when you see it, be like, wow, it's BuzzFeed. With all this stuff going on. But it's shitty. It's a shithole. I went to Good Morning America, right? This is big. The place they were shooting was shit.
Really?
But you see it the way it comes across because of all the setup that they have. The backdrops, all that stuff. It makes it look like, wow, that's $1 million.
Really? No way.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that on the podcast? Your experiences with things like that? Because we want to know about the background, right? It's not. I know you're coming from product talking, right? Yeah. We're talking.
Oh no. Well, we talk. So personal, whatever you start. I have a guy got crazy, bringing up, how was I brought up? I'm from Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So you'll get some
Let's
great
talk about
stuff.
That.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, one sec. Let me just make sure. So you're fairly light spoken.
Okay.
Right. I'm not.
Okay.
And so these mics are the best of the best mics.
Yeah.
So these mics, with their one direction, they're going to pick up what you're saying.
Okay.
However, because you're more light spoken than I am, and I have the dials set for a specific vernacular or tonality rather.
Okay.
Or decibel or whatever you want to call it. I want to make sure that you're going to get picked up in the mic, so it's going to be super important that I know you've done this many times.
So slow.
Yeah, we're like right there on the mic. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the intro real time.
Okay. There we go.
And you've heard the intro. It's Eric Thomas we're talking about. So I'll talk and then I'll bring you in.
Let me just put this so it doesn't.
Okay.
So we got the. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
There we go.
You look good, man. You look good. Very good. You're making me look fucking bad.
Oh, man. Listen, I have to look good, right? You're the host, dude.
You look real good. Okay. 1, 2. Hey, what's up, guys? Listen, What the fuck, man?
What happened?
I can't believe I fucked that up, dude. I've never fucked up before, ever. Oh my gosh. Funny thing, I did a story before this, and I was saying, "What's up, guys?" in the story. Perhaps that's where it came from. Let's... What's up, guys, and welcome back to Straight from the Chest podcast. My name is Justin Groth, and I'm your host on this personal development and growth podcast. Listen, if you're new to the show, I just want to take this time and I want to welcome you. Thank you for being here. And listen, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, we're on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud. Please do so. I'd appreciate the support. And if you value this podcast, please share it with somebody else. Link it on your IG stories. If it's on Instagram, please at me at Justin Craig Roth. I'll be sure to re-mention you in the stories just to help generate more awareness of the podcast, the guests we have on, and what we're doing over here. And I very much appreciate it. Very grateful for you. Thank you for tuning in. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome my guest, Dr. Nooristani. What's up, man? Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this. It's going to be an exciting episode, I hope.
It will, man, because you have a really big story. And that's kind of what we want to get into. So before we do all that, please kind of give an outline of who you are for those that don't know you or aren't familiar with you.
So I'm an internal medicine / critical care physician. I've been practicing medicine for over 16 years. I've been mainly in Central Coast, working at Sierra Vista, French Dignity for your local audience. And also now I'm a medical director at Lompoc Valley Medical Center in Lompoc. I'm also the founder of multiple non-for-profits, and a couple of them are local, which is the Slow Nor Foundation and Savvy Health, both of which serves uninsured population in the community. So
we're going to get into this, but you have a massive supplement line, and that's actually how I was introduced to you, was through the supplement line. Now, I want to get into that, and I want to get into the nuts and bolts of all that. But I also, because this is a personal development podcast, I like hearing about people's stories. You know, what got them into the practice that they're in or the pursuit that they're in currently. So can you tell us a little bit about that? And don't be afraid to start wherever you would like. I mean, your upbringing, if you want to start just 10 years back, whatever you like.
No, I mean, just usually it's good to give a back end story of how things, who I am and why I am who I am and how I got to where I have gotten so far. So I'm originally from Afghanistan. I came here when I was 13 years old, and my goal and dream have always been, to give back somehow to the, to my community, wherever I am, and serve. Medicine was something that was lacking in Afghanistan, the lack of it, and that was part of why I was so passionate about it, to become a physician, to go into health and wellness. So that was my goal, and I started high school here and came to U.S. I didn't speak a word of English, didn't know anything about culture, so it's really struggled for years of adapting to culture and the language, and getting to know people, just learning everything all over again as a kid. How to act, how to talk, how to walk, what is proper, what is not proper. It was just bad. So going to school, as you go to high school, it's just a struggle, A through Z of it. But you know what, you have a goal in mind, saying, this is it, I'm gonna become a doctor. That's it. There was just, I want to do that. And so finished high school, went undergrad in medical school, and 16 years ago I came to Central Coast as a pass by and a temporary stop for the first job out of residency. And I said, okay, 6 months to a year I'm gonna go back, because my parents live in Sacramento, and I grew up in Simi Valley. And I said, okay, after 6 months or a year, I'm gonna get back to one of those towns. Okay, 16 years later, here I am, and a lot of things has happened in between, and it's just been a crazy crazy journey and an unbelievable, amazing, and transformational in so many ways.
So you mentioned that you got into medicine because there was a lack of medicine where you came from, Afghanistan. But can you tell me the main, I mean, apart from that, so seeing that there's a lack and it's scarce and there's a need for it, what was some of the driving impetus towards actually pursuing it and getting into it, full-fledged?
To be honest with you, when I was in high school, my first choice was, I loved medicine and I wanted to do that, but my first choice was going to Air Force. I just almost went through that Air Force. Unfortunately, at that time, my parents didn't allow me to go, just giving the political aspects of things. So that didn't happen as a pilot. And because my uncle had a big influence on me, because he flew jets, F-15s, equivalent of Russian make, basically. And so I love that, right? So that didn't happen. And then I loved architect and design, and that became more of a hobby thing. And so I said medicine is, I always loved it, but, so that drove me to that. But seeing people dying, seeing people have nowhere to go, seeing people suffering from pain, from simple things, those are things that you never forget. Those things are like, can I do something about it? Would I have been able to change those people's life if I knew how to, if I was able to? And I think so that was the big drive and push to go in medicine route and focus on it. But once I focused, that was it. I never for a second moved to a different direction. It's like, eye on the prize. I don't care what I have to do. I had 3 jobs and I went full-time to school, but I just have to get to the points, right? So I just nonstop 15 years, like literally 14 years straight.
Of schooling?
Of schooling.
Wow.
Without a break.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's after high school.
Oh, no. So it's safe to say that your 20s, were eaten up from just being in the books.
Pretty much. Yeah, it is a commitment. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, that as a physician, there's very few occupations that require this much dedication. I remember residency, I used to put 120 hours a week of work in the hospital. 120 hours for 3 years. This is 3 full-time jobs.
Nonstop.
So it's a huge commitment. It's a physical, it's a emotional. So you have to be committed. You have to know this is what you want, and otherwise it's just so much pressure, a mountain of pressure on you to, get to the end point.
So a major driving factor for most Americans is going to be money. Doing something that provides lots of monetary compensation. So I'm sure that was probably a byproduct of why you went into it, but it wasn't the full-fledged reason.
That's correct. So the thing is that what people don't understand is, in today's world, being a physician really doesn't add up to a financial success. Well, you have to define financial success for everybody is different, right? I remember I used to make $300 a month, and it was enough for me. I paid my, gas, my tax, my insurance, etc. I ate out. I went to the movies. Great, lived with my parents.
Was this in the 20s?
I lived with my parents, right? Undergrad, I was like, high school. I just had a side job, so I didn't need that. But as you grow older, as you become more mature, as you finish, you get your degree, and you get to somewhere, your expenses goes up accordingly. You're not gonna be a physician and gonna drive something. It's just human desire, right? You're not gonna drive a crappy car. It's just you're gonna drive a nicer car. It costs you. You're gonna have a house, or a bigger house that you don't even need, but you will have. You need a bigger house. So everything changes. So it's, financial freedom is perspective of how you want, what kind of lifestyle you want. Now, if I look back and it was just finance, I would have never become a doctor. Absolutely not. Even though there's some guarantees, money wise, because I could go to business and I would have made 100 times more than what I'm making now if I had started business and spent 15 years of my life just focusing on business. And so if you add the hours and time that you spend to become a doctor, that first 15 years, you're not making anything.
15 years.
That's a lot of
yes, that's a lot of time
to get from high school down to becoming a physician. And some physician, obviously, it goes subspecialty. That's extra years. So, I mean, financially, yes. But once you finish, obviously, there is a need for a physician no matter where you go in the world, especially if you graduate from United States. If you have a license here, I could go anywhere in the world and I'd be fine as far as financially. So there's some guarantees in there that's saying financially I'll be stable. I will not be on the street. I don't have to worry about financial issues, minimum issues, unless I want to have a lavish lifestyle, and that will require different. But so there's component of safety, that hey, listen, I'm not gonna be broke, unless I'm going crazy. But yeah, no, from that standpoint, you're absolutely right. So the first drive was the passion of becoming a physician. The secondary, or maybe even the tertiary, is finances, because at that time you don't even think about finance. You're so behind, you're thinking about finishing this semester before you even think about finances.
Well, I want to tell people my first interaction with you, because when I meet people, when I interface people for the first time, I'm very much in dissection mode and analytical mode. And especially when it comes to people that are prompting a product. And I got turned on to your product from another guest that I had on the podcast, Valerie Mercado. And she actually was the one that had this set up with the meet and greet with you and I. And at first, first glance, first interaction, warm, inviting. And it wasn't a fake or disingenuous invite. And that first lured me in, because it's not often that you find genuine people in the world. It's not often that people don't have an agenda, at least that's right out in front of you. It's not often, especially with the way that people are sort of strung or flung in different directions, predicated on money or financial positions that they want to aspire to be in. And so that's something I really respected about you. You just spoke with me like a regular human being, and you took in what I was saying, and we had a really good dialogue, really good exchange back and forth. And I told you that I had a lot of questions for you that I wanted to say for the podcast. Anybody who listens to this podcast for any length of time knows that I'm like that. In fact, when I even have guests come over, I don't like to even talk that much, because I want to save all of the good material for the podcast, all the genuine, authentic material. And so I guess in a succinct way, I'm trying to say you're one of the good ones, I believe. You're one of the people that have a good backing, or authentic and genuine backing behind what they're promoting, what they're promulgating in general. And that's a rare thing to come by in this world, which is the reason why I wanted to talk to you more, which is the reason why I use the products, which is the reason why this, that, and the third. It's for the reasons for everything. It's predicated on the person that makes them, their walk, their agenda, etc. But when I say agenda, I don't mean that in a nefarious way. I mean just agenda could be good or bad. Your agenda is to get people good products that are going to help benefit them. And that's what I've noticed just in talking with you, in studying your products, using the products. And by the way, this is not a plug for your products. I just want to tell the listeners first and foremost, the products that I use, and we'll get into, they fucking work for me, but they're not going to work for they're going to work for everybody probably, but not in the same regard as they work for me, a serious athlete. And you were first to say this. You said, the reason why you're noticing this is because you can fine tune your body and understand any little thing that's off. And you're right, because I've been doing this for so long, and I'm so detailed with everything that I put in my body, and I'm so regimented that I'll notice if anything does work. And I'll notice down to a probiotic. I'll notice if it's something different I implemented. It's this is what it is. And so that's what I noticed with your product. I wasn't doing anything different. I didn't eat anything different. I only just ingested what your oxygen products, and we'll get into that later. And I would recommend them only for serious athletes, because those are the people that are going to benefit directly from the usage or utility of your products. But this is just a long-winded way of saying, one, I'm very appreciative of you doing the podcast because I know you're a busy man. Two, I love the genuine interaction that we've had and the person that you are. I believe that you're one of the good ones. And in medicine, it's hard to find good doctors. Did you agree with that?
Well, first of all, thank you for all the kind words. Damn, those products are really good. Didn't know that. Makes people say all sort of things. So I love that. So thank you. I really appreciate that. Feelings are mutual. I always tell people that, and I've been to many podcasts and TV and radio, and you got to be genuine self, because people are too smart now. They're too smart to not see through you. The BS that anybody puts up front, after 10-15 minutes it comes through. You are who you are. I am who I am. There's no reason to fake it. And the being genuine comes through, and people recognize that. You're genuine. You sticking through to who you are. And the same thing goes with us. Now, physicians they're different categories of physicians when it comes to personality, social aspects of things. The older generation and the younger generation. Now, because of the length of time that you spend and the seriousness of your business or what you do, you're playing with people's life. Your decisions are important. You cannot make mistakes. Mistakes are rare, and if it does, it could cost somebody's life, especially if you're working at the hospital setting. So you're constantly on, and I tell people that this is crazy. I'm on calls at nighttime. I'm sleeping. 2 a.m, somebody calls. I pick up my phone. Hello? Oh, it's the ICU person, and patient blood pressure is crashing. What should we do? Now, I was deep sleep, and I'm up. And at that moment of time, I'm up. I have to be 100% awake, alert, and know what the hell I'm saying. Because whatever I say depends, that person's life depends on it, on the other end of it. So from that perspective, it's just a stressful job in a sense of that. So, having that personality to go along and be warm and be fuzzy and have the time to sit down and spend there. Just a lot of physicians don't have that. So a lot of times that you come across this physician that are just very fast, sharp, hey, why are you here? You have a headache. Here's a prescription. I'll see you tomorrow. If it doesn't work, come back again. And you'll be like, wait a minute, what the hell? You barely spent 2 minutes. You don't know anything about me, right? But also the system is driven physicians, not to spend time with you, not to really look like they are caring as much as we are, but we are driven in a society where the insurance dictate, where employees dictate how much time you spend, how caring you can be, right? If somebody tells me I have 15 minutes to deal with your medical problem, that's not merely enough. It's not even close to being enough. How the hell am I going to know you in 15 minutes? But if I don't see you in 15 minutes and do my work, the next patient is late, and they keep on bombarding you with all these patients, and otherwise they won't pay you, and now you don't have a job, right? So medicine has shifted, and the doctors are under more and more stress. So when you see some of these physicians, it's really hard to relate to. And also medical school, that the last 8 years, 7 years, all you've been taught is medicine. That's it. You eat and you sleep and then drink medicine. And so it doesn't allow you, it gives you the opportunity to grow as a person, as a human being, as an individual, as somebody who wants to be more than just a physician. The capacity to be better, the capacity to understand, all that is not there's no time for those. You don't have time to grow. Your growth is linear, and your growth is toward becoming the best doctors to save people's life. I know it's a big responsibility to deal with people's life, and you have to make the right decision. But the system is not set up to allow you to grow as a person, as a human being, and being well versed. We're not taught to be a business person. And that's one of the things that you gotta recognize about me or anybody, like a lot of physicians. We are the worst business people on the planet, right? We make the dumbest mistakes when it comes to business, right? Why? I mean, how could you be so intelligent to save somebody's life and be able to deal with that complexity, and yet you can't make simple business decisions? It's just we never given the opportunity to expand our horizon, to be better, to have the emotional connection beyond medicine. So that's challenging with a lot of physicians, whether they're older physician or younger physician, because the opportunities are not there. And by the time they graduate, they're just so linear trained that they follow that path. And those are some of the new generations are better. And unless you, as a human being, as an individual, as a physician, decide to change that, you're in that linear path that is not changing.
How would you change that?
By reading, learning, going beyond. Stop taking the blinkers out and look around. And there's more life, there's more to life than just being a physician. Putting time, investing time and effort in you. You have to be the driver. You and only you can change you. Nobody else can change you. You got to be motivated to do more. You have to look beyond just that MD degree to be better, to be a better father, better husband, better brother, better family person, better human being. But I mean, in so many other ways that you could touch people's life in different way. Because once you become that person, now your impact on an individual, a person, a patient is so much more. You could really transform a patient, an individual who comes to you to help you in a profound and a different way, and you can leave a lasting effect on that person because they really connect with you. Now, if you're in pain and I'm going to take away that pain, there's nothing in the world can do that. No money in the world, nothing in the world can do that. But if I'm able to take your pain away, that's pretty amazing. And you feel great, and that that satisfaction for you and for me is just priceless. There's nothing in the world like that, right? But I also know that I have to be compassionate. You have to know that I really truly care about you and not about the money. It's not about me trying to get rid of you faster or not paying attention to you. I have to consider you as a human being, and you have to. It's my job for you to recognize me as a compassionate person, because if I haven't done that, then I haven't done part of my job as a physician, and that is the tricky part.
Because there's not a lot of time in the time that you see people. I guess when I was alluding to there are good doctors or in medicine there's good and there's bad. Excuse me. That might have been, I might have phrased that wrong, because the way you're illustrating it is beautiful, and the way what you're saying is basically they're taught to only practice and study and know medicine and dispense with medicine, but they leave an emotional quotient on the table as a result, because their mental faculties, mental space is only filled up with medicine and dispensing of medicine. So it's hard to be the other two. It's hard to be both, right? Be compassionate, like you're saying, and deliver the best medicine, or for the case for that person, whatever medicine is analogous with what their symptoms are. How, or I would ask this: do doctors get into medicine and they are just so linear in that regard that they lose out on the emotional quotient, they lose out on opportunities or relationships with people or with patients, and then because of that they get a bad rep?
Yes. Part of it. And once again, it's the system is not set up appropriately. You have taken the time to be who you are right now. I'm pretty sure when you started this journey 6 years ago, you're not half 1/10 as good as who you are now as an individual. You had to read, you had to study, you had to meet people, you learn from everybody's experience. Now you have a wealth of knowledge to deal with all different circumstances. Now imagine if you didn't have that and you were focused on one thing and one thing only. You weren't able to be a well-rounded person. Now, once again, the physicians are trying to change that in the new generation because of availability, but you have to have a lot of self-discipline and drive to do that because medicine is exhausting. And so a lot of people just bypass that and they are just not getting to the next level. And I don't blame them because it's just too much work to do. To now all of a sudden relearn things that you should have learned in your 20s, early 20s, right? So those opportunities are gone because you were so focused on just books and studying and going to class and, you know, spending hundreds of hours doing that. So you didn't have that opportunity like everybody else did, right? Some 8 to 5 job, and then you have weekends off and you have nights off and you could, you know, socialize, be free, be exposed. And those are limitations that we face. And as a result of that, you know, you see some of this, a lot of people are complaining about their physicians, saying, hey, you know, they're not sincere, they're not passionate, they're not compassionate. But in reality is they are truly compassionate people who wants to save your life. They want to do the best for you. Now, nothing is 100%. Of course, they're a good physician, they're a bad physician, right? There's no, hey, this guy is just pure, you know, pure, and this is not, right? So there's no 100%. So you got a bunch of a percentage of physicians are just ass. I don't know if I can say the word, but they are because they don't care, right?
You can cuss.
Yeah. So
if you want to cuss,
I have to behave. But I mean, just but their personality was as such, and from beginning they haven't, you know. So, but majority of physicians are there just to help you and to deliver you away from your problems. And sometimes the approach is just not there, so you don't see it.
It takes a certain type of psychological profile to want to go into medicine, right? A certain type of psyche that is, well, for one, to do all the schooling, 10 plus years of schooling, and it takes a certain kind of individual to be able to immerse himself in that and stick it out all the way through. And then with that comes behavioral changes, probably mental changes, because you've been in the books for so long, you've been running a certain structure to your life for so long that you don't know anything different now. You've kind of reframed, so to speak, the way that you think about things, the way that you see people, the way that you interact, everything has changed to some degree. I mean, and why would it not? Because you've been immersed in this thing for the last decade plus. So it's natural that you're going to be on a different level or operating on a different frequency when you meet with people, and that's going to come across probably to them as unemotional or unempathetic. But that's, like you're saying, it's not necessarily the case. It's just they don't understand that emotional side of them yet, or they can't fully merge into that realm yet because they're just too busy giving you what you need to get better. But sometimes, and this is a kind of a controversial question, and I'm not trying to say it to put you on the spot. I would say this if we were just talking candidly. But there are often times where medicine might not even be, and you may not agree with this or you may agree with this, it might not even be the antidote. It might actually be some of the worst thing that person needs. The best thing that they may need is just plain old exercise and nutritional advice or counsel. So what do you say to people when you can tell, because you're a fit doctor, you're not an unfit doctor. Now, don't point to your stomach, man. I've seen you in a shirt. You're definitely fit. And you do exercise and you do believe in that. So, but there are doctors that don't exercise, that are overweight, that are obese themselves. So what would you say to people that come in when you know that this person, perhaps they need, alongside medicine, they need to adopt an exercise protocol, more nutritious plan of eating? Do you dispense with that, or does the medical industry frown on physicians dispensing with that kind of information?
Oh, no. I mean, as a matter of fact, you've been taught, because to look at underlying problem, I don't think any physician would not want you to exercise, eat healthy, and go to the gym, nutrition, watch your diet, and be fit, right? Even though they don't do it, right? There's a lot of physicians that are not healthy and they're not fit. A lot of them, right? And then, but time, once again, it goes back to the time frame. In 15 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever limited time they have, what they can discuss about what? If you're here and you're diabetic and your sugars are, let's say, 300, okay, I could just sit there and go lecture you on your diet and what exercise and put you on medication and go through all this. That takes an hour. I don't have an hour for you. Okay, so I could tell you, hey, go see a dietitian. Here's the medication that drops your sugars today. And voila, your sugar is fixed, right? I'm fixing your problem. It's like going to, you're going to go fix your car. Tires, you got a flat tire. What do? They fix it. Are they going to come in and lecture you how to drive on the street for 10 minutes, watch for your nails and make sure you don't hit the curb and don't drink it? No, they just fix your tire, right? Why? Because they don't have that time or the knowledge to do it. So for medicine, as I say, time is so limited for the outpatient physician that they don't have that luxury to sit down and lecture you about all the benefits of that comes in. The things that are relevant to, for example, exercise and nutrition. Yeah, everybody's going to say, hey, you're overweight, make sure you lose weight, go to an exercise program. But what is that going to do for the patient? Nothing. It's like going from this year and goes through that and out, right? You have to spend time with these patients. You have to recognize what the underlying problem is. You have to know why they are overeating, why they're not exercising, what is the underlying cause. And that takes time. So like that's a good person to that really analyze you, a psychiatrist. They spend an hour with you. Correct? 45 minutes just to listen to you, to tell your story so they understand who you are, and then they work, from bottom up slowly for you. But unfortunately with medicine, we don't have that luxury. So we have, and then some of the problems are we have to do something or the consequences. So for example, if you have high blood pressure, let's say you come to the office, your pressure is 180. Can I bring it down and reduce it by exercise, weight loss, and all that? Absolutely, no question about it. But it's going to take time. And in the meantime, if you're not complying with that strict regimen and working out and checking your pressure every day, and now it goes higher, guess what? You're going to end up with a stroke or heart attack. So I can't take the chance, neither can you. So I'll put you on medicine to bring that down and then tell you, hey, you got to do A, B, C, D in order to be healthy and hope that your pressure is down. And then we'll take to the next phase of it. So it's just time constraint is what some of that physician don't have the time to talk to you. But no, absolutely, I don't think there's any physician in this planet that will not tell you to work out, weight loss, go exercise, and eat better.
That's a really good breakdown. I never even thought of it that way, especially the way you illustrated the tire pop, the tire flat situation. You're right. When you go to a mechanic's shop and you get a tire replacement, they don't tell you how to drive to avoid a tire pop or to avoid a nail in the tire or whatever. They just fix it, and then they patch you up and you get on the road. So that makes a lot of sense. And you're right, and especially in the fitness industry, as you know, I'm a personal trainer, so I deal a lot with this disciplinary or lack of discipline attitude with people, and when it comes to their fitness goals, weight loss goals, etc., they're just not adamant on the discipline fact or the discipline end. And as a result, they don't get to their goal. And as a result, they get more frustrated, more discouraged, and then they just drop out entirely. But you can't, nor can I, be there every single second of the day, making sure they eat the right foods, they exercise the right amount of time, they do the prescribed exercises, etc. You just have to lend them off to their own and keep the onus on them to produce. And we know that likely doesn't happen with most people, which is the reason why they're in the position in the first place that they're in, because they don't have any self-control. They don't have any discipline. They lack those massive imperatives that allow them to be better individuals. So you're right. I mean, that makes complete sense that you will prescribe the medicine to get them down, because in the interim of things, they may not do what you prescribed for them to do outside of this, and that might result in a stroke or fatality.
Absolutely. So once again, it's medicine is one of those that there's certain things you could wait, certain things you cannot wait, right? Because waiting is detrimental or gonna have consequences that's not favorable. So I have, in the last 15 years, and I have worked a lot of patients, and I have done every weight loss program that you can think of for my patients, and I have written about them, every single type of weight loss program that there is. Okay, has any of them worked? The answer is yes and absolutely not. Okay. Yes, because the short term, they're going to chase down things and they're going to be in this keto diet. They're going to lose weight, blah, 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 blah. And guess what happens 6 months later? They're worse than what they were, right? So, I mean, no matter, just diet, I don't care which diet you pick. People cannot really stay on those diets for a long period of time. Now, if you educate them on the process of what the goal is and how to reach that, now there's a success. I have a 95 to 96% success rate with my patients. It's unheard of, and the process is extremely simple, and you can adhere to it and no problem.
What makes it easy for them to adhere to?
You have to know how to approach them, saying, so usually they'll just, the process is very simple. It's a 2-step process. Step number 1, you have to lose weight. Step number 2, you have to become healthy. You can't have those 2 steps mixed together, because there's no way that'd be successful. Because in order to be healthy and lose weight, you're going to sacrifice way too much. And those people who are overweight, they're not ready for it. Mentally, physically, emotionally, they just are not ready. They can't give up everything. So you reduce the calories first, and then when their body is prime and they like what they see and they have lost weight and they look good, then phase 2 of it, you become healthy. So you can't do the 2-phase. If you don't do this and combine the 2 phase together, which sounds a lot better and a lot healthier, and everybody's pushing that, but it doesn't work. It has not worked, and it's not gonna work, because as a human being, as I said, because you let yourself go, you have the tendency to continue to do that unless you change the behavior. And that behavior is mental aspects of it, emotional aspects of it, physical aspects of it. If I tell you, hey, listen, you're 200 pounds, you need to lose 50 pounds. All I want you to do is just eat greens all day long and just drop to 500 calories a day. And you're going to lose weight in first month or 2. You're going to lose 20 pounds. You're going to look good. And then all of a sudden, the craving from every angle comes in. And it's like you being a druggie who hasn't had anything for weeks. And now you're going to be chasing down every fat and carb that in the planet. And you're going to gain those pounds in 2 days, right? So it just doesn't work that way. But it's a slow process, because from my experience, when patient goes from a certain level of weight down, without really letting go of anything they love. They eat their cakes, they eat their meat, they eat their fats, that's fine. But they don't eat as much of it. So they lose slowly, and now the mental aspects slowly kick in, because they look good, they're not craving, it's not hard for them. Once they get to that comfortable zone with their body, now you reinforce the healthier lifestyle of eating.
Which pertains to the foods, the quality foods.
Quality of food, what you eat, how you eat, and all that. Because now they're already restricting their calories by eating a little bit less of everything they love. So there's no craving. You're not craving anything. You're not craving a piece of cake or a pie or a meat or a burger or a hot dog, anything. You've been eating all of that. You're just eating a little bit of less of one thing at a time.
You're familiar with Jenny Craig and Nutrisystem.
Yes.
That's the reason why those plans worked pretty well for most people, because they had lasagnas, cakes, all the what we know as fatty, quote unquote, bad foods, but they had them in small portions. So it mainly just centered around caloric intake. That was it, right? And as long as you can meet these caloric requirements, then you'll lose weight. And then as a result, you'll become healthier. And then maybe you'd like to take it to the next level. And so the incentive kicks in because you're saying they look better, they feel more confident, they have higher self-esteem likely as a result. And so then they take it to the next level on their own accord and eat healthier entirely. So substitute the foods that they are eating for maybe more green foods, more whole organic sources of meats, vegetables, even, some carbohydrates, some starches.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, you see all those commercial people losing 50, 90, 100 pounds. They're true. I mean, I guarantee you that you're going to lose weight. I mean, I could guarantee put money that you don't need, you're going to lose weight. Now, exception, medical issues, genetic and problems with hormonal problems that you're not going to lose as much. But no matter what, look at Africa, poorest countries in the nation. Do you see anybody overweight?
Right.
None. There's none. Because they just don't have enough to eat. And there's no calories.
But they live long.
They live long, but they don't have calories.
Well, that's a testament to you being lean, right? You'll live long if you're within a good body weight.
So the thing is that, life expectancy to some of those poor countries are really bad, right? But you're lean, but you're malnourished. So there's the trade-off. You're not eating a lot, but you're malnourished of what you eat. You're not eating enough good calories. You eat enough to stay alive, whatever that is, but you're not eating. But if you look at the blue zone or areas that people live longest and they have a balanced, better diet, now that is they live longer, the rate of cancers are significantly lower, diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, all that stuff is significantly lower than any other countries because of their diet type, the style, the healthier diet.
The Mediterranean diet's one of them.
One of them, and then you have, any diet that you have a lot of fruits and vegetables incorporated, and there's less meat, less processed food, less canned food, less sugar, less sodas, less drink, less alcohol. Those are healthy people.
I definitely am not that healthy person on Sunday. I'll tell you that. Sunday is what I coined cheat meal day. And oh my gosh, I'm having all the sweets, within a good, I don't know, probably 4 hours or so. I'm having like a big meal. Then I'm having, ice cream and donuts and shit. I mean, I just go.
What is today, Saturday? Man, I should have had this conversation on Sunday.
Oh, I know, huh? I would have been a mess. I'll tell you that. When I eat that much food, I'm in a coma. I don't even want to talk, man.
Well, the thing is, out of 6 days, you are eating extremely healthy and clean, and so your body can handle those, once a week fluctuation on eating whatever, because your body is amazing. It's resilient, so you're not taxing your body day in, day out for years before it collapses. So yes, 7 days your body is clean, 1 day you're eating bad, big deal. No, because your body has the capacity to overcome that small change. Yeah. And then it has another 6 days to just go back to regular and normal. But if you ate like that every day, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be a trainer, or would be a bad trainer.
I wouldn't be anything. I'd probably be in the dirt, man. So let's talk about your products. Right. So your products, 04. Well, I don't want to talk. How will you talk? Explain your products and kind of how they benefit someone like myself, an athlete, a serious individual that is pursuing athletics of any sort, whether it's competitively, when it comes to weightlifting, running, anything, triathlon. Explain how they benefit people.
So, one of the reasons we have created O4 Nutrition, which is an oxygen-based supplement. It is extremely pure. There's no There's no caffeine, there's no added sugar, there's no garbage, nothing in there. It's pure. It's an oxygen base. It is 4 molecules of oxygen fused together to provide you the liquid oxygen to get absorbed through your orally. Now, it's also combined with certain minerals that helps the delivery of oxygen to your bloodstream. So therefore, you can sustain a maximum level of exercise at a peak level for a longer period of time. Now, it doesn't increase your strength. It doesn't make you, superhuman, but it gets you, what it does is it allows your body to function in an aerobic phase of exercise a little bit longer than the anaerobic phase, because once you hit the anaerobic phase of it, obviously your body, your muscles gonna fatigue, right? Just the anaerobic phase for us, especially for triathlon people who are doing like distance running, etc. The long phase of it, right? So that's a limiting factor. So that helps you with that, to not to reach to that phase sooner, but it provides you that small amount of constant supply throughout that phase. So we have done some clinical trials, and it increases your VO2 max, which, as you know, it allows you to perform better at a higher capacity. And then also it has a specific minerals that targets your body performance as far as helping your muscle to recover, for example, better, and perform during exercise, before and after. So there's 3 product, and actually 4 product in that family. One is before, one is after, one you can take during, and before or after. And then the other one is just the pure oxygen drops that are binded with iron that you take under your tongue. There's about 15 to 20 drops of that will give you that boost that you need. And it's just all clean. It's just, one of those product that not only just give you that capacity to perform better, but also be more focused. That's oxygen that goes to your brain that need it. So when you're hitting your peak and you're fatigued, not physically, but mentally, it helps you, that focus remain at the higher. So you perform better because you're more focused in on the task that you do.
So it's almost like it buffers lactic acid to some degree within the muscles, correct?
Correct.
And then it kind of acts like the drops, the O4 drops, kind of act like a nootropic maybe to some degree, correct?
Correct. So it just, one of the thing is that I think oxygen is a nutrient, right? It's just like a protein or amino acid. That's a nutritional value to the oxygen itself, because it helps your cell at cellular level to perform at higher capacity. So the more we're gonna provide your body with it, the better your body will be, to an extent, because too much oxygen is dangerous, right? Did you know that too much oxygen is dangerous?
Well, too much of anything is dangerous. Too much water is dangerous.
You die
from
absolutely.
Too much water.
And we'll talk about water, because I think that is very crucial for people to understand that. So yeah, too much oxygen becomes it's toxic, and it causes damage to your lungs. So we have to be really careful, and we see that really well for patient who has COPD, for example, lung disease, that they don't have processed oxygen really well. And now you put a higher level of oxygen, and you think, oh, they're gonna do great because their oxygen saturation level is at 100%, woohoo! But they live at 88 to 90. So now you're causing more damage to the lung tissue than benefit. So we have to be really careful. So too much of everything is not that good, and oxygen is no different. But this doesn't give you to that level of oxygenation, right? Sometimes people get short of breath when, excuse me, during exercise, and they have the oxygen mask, especially when you see these people in football. Excuse me.
Get some water.
So the products are designed to give you the much needed energy boost and sustainability, and it's pure. There's nothing in there.
That's what I noticed when I was training, and I even told you this, when I didn't notice anything the first few days or so, but then about a week or so had gone by, and I noticed that I could train at fairly the same capacity in the very end of the last exercise as the beginning the first exercise. And for people that don't know how I train, I've talked about it on the podcast to some degree when it comes up organically. But when I train, I think there's two levels of exercise. There's one where you exercise or you just work out, and then there's training. You're actually training to become better, training the body part to become more, grow, etc. That's how I work out. That's how I train. So when I train, it's a lot harder. There's more of a byproduct of damage on the muscle because I'm exhausting it to such a large degree because I train in a way that's, and I've said this before, it's like I'm at war with my body when I'm training. And that's just a behavioral pattern that I default to when I train because of my early competitive days in bodybuilding and being a competitive bodybuilder. So that's how I know to work when I train in the gym. When I get into the gym, that's how I work. That's how I train. So that's not to pat myself on the back. It's just to give context. So when I took this supplement, again, and I've told you this in our meet and greet, I'm very skeptical of any supplements. You know, I've been around the block so many times with natural supplements trying to have the edge because as you know or don't know, and for people that don't know, I'm a natural bodybuilder. I've always been natural, meaning there's been no steroids in my arsenal of supplementation. It's just been natural. So whatever I can get over the counter, creatine, protein, pre-workout, beta-alanine, citrulline amount, all just the basic protocol. Excuse me. So anytime there's a natural supplement that's supposed to increase this, do this, etc., I'm always wary, skeptical, as I think most people are. And I wasn't expecting anything from taking it. I just was taking it because why not? It's been proven. I know that. I read the brochure, the literature on it, etc. You dispense with some of the scientific nature of it, and I looked that up as well, did my research on that. So I'm like, why not? Let me just run it. And I've also done worse. I've also done worse supplements in the past that I didn't do any research on. I just took them because the supplement guru behind the counter said, this is the shit, man. You need to take this. But again, it's all been over the counter GNC shit, local supplement store stuff. And so I was like, let me just try my hand at this. And like I said, the first week or in the first few days, nothing, but then that week or so, maybe the 5 or 6 day mark, I noticed that I could go longer in the last, or actually have the same determination, the same effort level, or relatively so the same effort level in the last exercise as the first exercise. And that was profound to me because I do a lot in my training. It's fucking hard. I dispense with massive work ethic. I mean, I pride myself on work ethic in the gym, not my body, my work ethic, my ability to create an intense effort in terms of the workout itself or in terms of the training itself. So that was profound to me. And that's what kept me more intrigued and wanting to take more of it. And then now talking about it because I want people to know that I don't promote anything. And so if I ever stand behind something, it's because I saw a direct effect on it with me. And it may not work for I would say this, it's not going to, like you said, even, it's not going to work for the average Joe. They're not going to see the effects. It'll work, but they won't see the effects. The people that are going to benefit from this are the serious athlete. People that take their training seriously, people that take their body seriously. If you don't even take this product. It's not worth it, man. What would you say to that?
So I agree with you. I mean, if you want to see result fast and physical manifestation of a product, which is hard to do nowadays, except when you take caffeine and steroids and blah blah blah, things that you're gonna see the effect immediately or now, is that if you're an athlete and you're in tune with your body, you will definitely see a significant difference and improvement in overall performance. There's no question about it. But if you are somebody who just wants to take it for fun and see how it does, probably not going to see that. But that doesn't mean you're not going to get the benefit. I give a good example for say if you're really busy and you want to concentrate. Like the gamer, simple people, you know, they game all the time. That concentration level needs an up. So that oxygen will provide you that extra concentration, the drops I told you. So you don't have to, because it's that level of oxygenation that increases, that make you focus. So the focus aspects of it. If you're a mom and you're really tired and you just need a little more energy and you know, to chase down those 4 kids, then yeah, sure, that pre-workout, because it's nothing else. It's not gonna bulk you. It's not a supplement that is gonna get you that that has side effects or anything like that. It just deliver extra oxygen to your body, so you are running and doing more things.
And this is the awakening.
For awakening, right?
Yes.
So it's just, I mean, they're all awakening, revive, and restoration. They all have oxygen-based products with their, you know, main ingredient is the iron, the chromium, the magnesium, and the copper. So these are just cofactors that your body uses in so many enzymatic reaction that, you know, in a biochemical sense, your body is using that. So there's just nothing that goes to waste when you take that. Every part of it goes to your body and it does what it does. But we're talking about athletes who wants to do better, wants to get to the next level, who wants to perform a little better, who wants to, or in competitive age, or someone like you who work ethic is extremely important and your workout is your work, and you want to see better result. You want to see if you can push yourself even more. So, you know, it has, you know, different utility and different use for it. But overall, once again, as you say, if you're an athlete, you want to get to the next level, you're a serious athlete, this is for you, right? Long distance runner, cyclist, triathlon, you know, decathlon, whomever else in that sense. So I definitely could benefit from that.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing, man. And when you developed those, how long ago was it that you developed those? And then was obviously the same idea in mind. I want to help people. I want to get people to the next level. Was that sort of the play?
Well, so I mean, you just look at it. So a few years back, obviously, I've been doing some research on different natural way of helping people, nutraceutic, as they say. And I wanted to see, I started doing research initially in CBD for a very long time. And we'll talk about that as a big, gigantic topic of why CBD. And then so, I wanted to see something else for athletes and came across. Now, I'm not the founder of the liquid oxygen. Obviously, this was developed by NASA 50 plus years ago, and they tested for astronauts and, to see how they could oxygenate them better, etc. And then the technology died down and it was brought back in. So I work with a couple of scientists who are doing a lot of research with that. So I worked with them and then created what I wanted to tailor it to what I want to see, what ingredient is needed specifically for pre and post and workout, and what I need in it in combination of the molecules of oxygen that's available. Because it's really tricky. Once again, oxygen has 2 molecules. You put 3 as a radical, it's extremely dangerous. So you just have to be really careful what it is, making sure the processes are right, making sure it's done for the right reason, for the right people, with the right manufacturing capacity, etc. So it's just kind of finding the niche for it, to saying who will benefit from this and which way, and just then creating that. For example, we talked about O4 nutrition. We had a lot of nutrition supplement for bypass patient, gastric bypass patient. Those people who wants to lose weight, they can't do it through natural way. They get surgery, they get bypass. Their body is lacking nutrient in order to survive. They will die. They will have serious medical issues if they don't take those supplements. So then they have all these pills that they are taking 20-24 a day with, you have to use glasses and glasses of water. So it's just really hard for them. The pills are big, they can't swallow. So we could, I went ahead, I said, how are we going to solve that problem? So we created a powder form of that. A powder form that is the only one in the world of its kind, of what it has and how much of it has, and dialed in according to the specific recommendation. So we created that. So is that the creation of, did I come up with it? No, but I created that based on the need and transform what wasn't available to something that is really makes sense for these patients. Now all they have to do is on this one, take 1 scoop a day. I transform 20 pills a day to 1 scoop a day, and they get so much of benefit, 100% bioavailable. So it's solving a problem. So when people say, did you invent that? No, I didn't invent I can't invent the ingredients are already invented. It's just how you apply it, where you get it, how you transform it, how you change it, what to add, when to add. All that stuff is becoming a patent process in a sense. But truly everything is in nature. There's nothing that you're going to see that nature doesn't offer you. Mm-hmm. There's nothing in the world except a few synthetic drugs. Even those are a derivative of some sort of plants or that's in the nature. So using the nature and solving problems.
I love that, man. You had mentioned I want to go back probably 20, 30 minutes. You talked about water being detrimental. So we know that water, too much of anything, has its discourse. So it seemed like you had some light to shed on the topic about water. So I want to talk about that now.
Yeah. So water, so there's a balance in your body, like what we call electrolytes, right? Like, you have Gatorade, it says electrolyte panel. So your body is, have that panel, electrolyte panel. When you drink water, it's going to dilute that panel. The more you drink, the more dilution happens. One of the byproduct things that goes wrong is your sodium. So the more if you drink quite a bit of it, and there's some disease that make you be thirsty all the time, and it forces you to drink. No matter what you drink, you're thirsty. You can have 3 gallons of water and you're still thirsty. So what happens is your sodium level keeps on dropping, and sodium level keeps on dropping, and it goes above certain threshold level, then that could be detrimental to your brain, and you're going to have seizures, you're going to have all sort of other medical issue, coma, and death as a result of it. So become water toxic, right? So we have those patients that cannot help themselves but keep on drinking because they're so thirsty, because the thirst center, and there's specific hormones that are released that make you feel you're thirsty, and your body, your kidneys are not compensating and taking up all this sodium back. So too much of it is bad for you. And everybody says you have to drink 8 glasses of water at least. No, you don't. I mean, that was just, I don't know. I can't. I
Wives' tale.
Wives' tale. I could research. There's no scientific facts behind any of 6-8 glass.
I remember 8-ounce glasses a day. That's what was recommended by the physicians.
Yeah, I don't know who. There's nothing. So basically, you drink as much water as your body needs. Mm-hmm. Now, exceptions to that rule is that if you're elderly, because you're not eating enough, because you get part of your water from your diet, right? About 20% of it. And if you are not drinking enough, obviously, we recommend to eat more. If you're going outside, outdoors, for example, and it's hot, you're sweating a lot, so you lose volume. Or if you're an athlete, I mean, when you work out, I'm pretty sure you could lose tons of water. But you're not losing only just water, but you're also losing sodium in that, right? So the electrolytes in there. But now you're not losing to the point where you're going to get sick because you're eating afterward and it has salt. And unless you're salt restricted, you eat whatever you eat is going to have salt in it. Otherwise, it's not going to taste good. So you replenish yourself in there. But if you are elite athlete who does so much, you lose so much water, then that's exception to that rule. But you got to drink more than 8 glasses, or you have to compensate whatever you're losing. But other than that, your body tells you when you're thirsty.
Sure,
it's simple.
I'm a big proponent of liquid IV. I'm familiar with liquid IV. It's a powder that is electrolyte based, providing zinc, magnesium, sodium, and I believe B12, and a little bit of sugar too. It's about 8 grams of sugar. It's about 45 calories or so for this pack. But I take one of those in the morning. I take it right before workout. I take it after workout. So my body's getting a ton of electrolytes every single day. And I've seen the massive benefit from that. Not only performance based, but neurologically. Like I'm more alert. I'm more fluid with my conversations.
Yeah.
I can think of different words that I would want to use in a conversation more appropriately and more rapidly. It's just it's a nootropic in and of itself, electrolytes, and people kind of sleep on that. They kind of sleep on the fact that electrolytes are just it's salt. It's not just salt, man. There's so much more to it. And you benefit from it when you ingest. If you were to ingest liquid IV, this electrolyte blend, so to speak, and you were to have that before workout and then after workout, you'll see what I'm talking about. If you're akin to understanding how you conversate with people, how you dispense, how you talk, etc., you'll understand the nootropic effect that I'm speaking about when it comes to the electrolyte formula. It's a very, very apparent, and I think people just kind of dismiss it as nothing because they want if they're looking for nootropics, they look for specific things like lion's mane and alpha GPC and these sorts of things that help to, stimulate mental faculties and promote more fluidity in the brain. But don't sleep on electrolytes. Very, very, very important.
As an athlete, you have to, because you lose a lot, through sweat. When you're like, let's say, take an NBA player. You see them, they run from side to side. They dripping. So they need to be replacing, not just with water, with electrolyte. As you say, electrolyte is not just water or, sodium. You got a potassium, you got a chloride, you got, if you're looking through that panel, it has, for example, magnesium. You're going to have your vitamins and that are part of it infused. So you're losing a lot more, not just from outside, but also your muscles are overdrive work. It needs nutrition. It's hungry. Your muscles are hungry. It's broken. It need to be repaired. So you need all that replacement. So when you say that for you, that's working because you're working so hard that you are deficient. You have to replenish, and it makes you feel better. Of course, you're going to replace that. Otherwise, you're short. You're in a deficit. You're in a negative, and you're always going to feel that burden. Your body will tell you. And that's why I tell you, your body will tell you what you need. What happens during pregnancy? Women crave things that are just completely odd, and they never had it. They hate those things. Why they eat things that they hate?
There's certain nutrients that the body needs that it tells it that it needs.
It's in signals. Hey, I need this nutrient. Some women eat clay.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Especially in third world country.
Clay. Now, what does clay offer?
Iron.
I wanted to say that, but I didn't want to sound like a dumbass if I was wrong, so I didn't say anything.
But I'm just saying, so they just, your body craves so much because it needs certain nutrient. So your body will tell you what is it that you're lacking. There are symptoms, right? You're confused, like you're lightheaded, there's got to be some, and we're talking electrolyte only, no other medical problem, just electrolyte imbalance, right? You have nauseated, you don't know why, you're feeling fatigued, you don't know why, you're cramping, you don't know why. So there's so much that comes in with that electrolyte imbalance. So you just have to be very conscious, in tune with your own body. Don't override things. If your body tells you something, listen to it.
The body's very smart, very, very smart, and very resilient. And people don't give it enough credit to the body for what it's capable of and what it can endure. A lot. And the funny thing is that when you talk about being lethargic or having low energy or even like low libido, things like that, a lot of those things are tethered to electrolyte deficiencies, something on the surface end that people dismiss that could be easily repaired. It can also be aligned with low testosterone, estrogen being kind of out of whack a little bit, hormonal milieu being out of course a little bit, but that's on the more complex end. Sometimes sometimes if you correct the surface, it will correct the deeper, more intrinsic problems that are a result of you not correcting the surface problems yet.
You're absolutely right. And as I said, when you don't know the underlying problem, right? Your brain tells you where to start. If you do that and it doesn't work, then you go to the next level. If that doesn't work, you go slowly to the next level. but you gotta be listening to your body. Start top, the easiest, most common thing, right? In medicine, we say 95% of things are just things that you should know by the time you're done with patient. You have to diagnose them. If you didn't diagnose, you didn't ask the right question, period. That's medicine. Only 5% is zebra. You're very rarely gonna see some odd disease that you don't know. So listening to your body and listening and reasoning with your body, and just surface, just basic thinking. I will solve a lot of your problem.
Yeah.
If you're really craving something, then your body's telling you something. You just gotta listen. And then I'm talking about you're craving cake, your body's saying, I need more sugar because you're going toward diabetes. But other than that, as I said, so human body is so amazing. I'm telling you, 15, 16 years of practicing, and every day that I think I know, I don't know. A patient comes in that I scratch my head, I have no answer for it. And I go chase down subspecialists, I call different universities, and they scratch their head. They have no clue about what this patient has. And it's just crazy. That tells you how complex the body is despite all the signs.
Yeah.
On hundreds of years of medicine, we still don't know. We cannot really tell in a lot of cases, or some of the cases, that what patient has.
That's incredible. The fact that there's something that you guys haven't came across yet and you don't have an answer to. Do you ever
look what happened to COVID?
Yeah.
Something new. What the hell? We throw everything at it that we think is gonna work, and we were wrong for so many of them, right? So as medicine, it's like, one of the other thing that people say that in medicine is probably the most humbling professional you could have, because it will humble you every day that you think that you think you're the shit. Guess what? Something comes in and be like, oh fuck, I have no freaking clue, and you're researching and doing everything you don't know. So it's really humbling experience to the minute you feel good, something comes in and we're like,
I don't mean to change course, but CBD. So we want to talk about that a little bit.
You want to talk about CBD? Wow. I think I love CBD.
So I've actually been very, I guess, skeptical of CBD and the different, because I don't know. I mean, for people that don't know, I've never smoked, I've never drank in my life. So I don't know what the effects of THC coupled with CBD and or just CBD would be, what that even looks like, if that's a contaminant in and of itself, how the body responds to that. And I'm very wary of things that I ingest that I guess have a negative connotation attached to them, and more so now in my latter years. But when I was younger, I didn't partake because, to be completely honest, I didn't like the thought of, I can't believe I'm telling you this on the podcast, but I lost my virginity really early on in life. Okay. And for some reason that meant something to me. Like as a growing man, like 15 years old, I lost my virginity. And I was like, I honestly, after I lost it, I remember thinking, fuck, why did I do that? Because you know what it is and you're saving yourself to that point, but then like spontaneity occurs and you just get, immersed in the moment and you just do it. And it wasn't even with a woman that I cared about. It was just kind of a whatever. And so anyways, after I did that, I remember feeling bad. But one thing I hadn't done still was drink or smoke. I still was a virgin in that regard. So in some way, my brain parsed it out to where, well, you still have your virginity with drinking and smoking. So don't do that. And maybe that'll help you feel better about you losing your virginity to somebody that you didn't really care for. For some reason, I guess, maybe it's the way I was raised, but I also, even though I'm a man and I want to procreate, that's something that still meant something to me, giving myself to somebody. And so as a result, I refrained from drinking or smoking. And then I said no so many times that I became kind of, in my school, identified as the guy that doesn't drink or smoke. And I like that because that was unique. And you can call it ego-driven, whatever. That was something that I loved because it was something that no one else had. And so then I kept saying no, no, no. Then that became a streak that I was on to saying no and not partaking. And then I found bodybuilding. And so obviously when you do bodybuilding, that doesn't also have a hand in it too, if you want to be good. So it's a long-winded way of saying, because I've never done these things, I don't really know the effects of them and what I should refrain from or what I should allow a chance.
So I've never drank a sip of alcohol in my life, never smoked.
Really?
Maybe 3 puff of cigar. And
okay, you, myself, and Donald Trump are the only ones that exist.
So we did. I don't. I for me was initially as a religious, not the smoking part, but the alcohol. But I never got drawn into that scene of drinking or having alcohol to have a good time and enjoy my time. So I never got into the scene. Even I lived in medical school. Actually, all my roommates were potheads. I mean, I don't know how they passed. I don't know how they did, but they just smoked 24/7. They're good doctors now, but anyways, but I never got drawn into that scene, and to me it wasn't a big deal to drink. I mean, once I got to know the side effects of drinking and smoking, etc., that was, to me, was a no brainer. So I feel that's great. It's amazing because your body's a temple. You're supposed to keep it as clean as possible, and that's one way to do it. So when it comes to CBD, and I wasn't really, I didn't know much about CBD and THC. All I know is it was illegal. Smoking marijuana and hashish was just, in Afghanistan they had it. It was just full. It's #1 in the world for exporting that.
Oh, really?
But I never got into that scene, and I just didn't know about it since medicine doesn't teach you that because it's illegal. Till a few years ago that it became more prevalent and people were talking about it. So I said, let me just look at this. What is this? And the more I read, the more I loved it. The more I became really invested in it, as far as I want to know more. And so your body just for lack of time, I won't give you too much detail. So your body system internally has what is called endocannabinoid system. That means it already produces its own CBD internally. Okay? So just the CBD. We're not talking about THC. I'm not talking about the marijuana component of it, right? We're just talking about the CBD component of the flower, the hemp, right? It's been used in different industries for thousands of years, from making ropes to boat to wood. All that stuff uses hemp. That's the CBD portion of it. So the CBD is, because it's involved in every aspect of your body, every part of your body, from nervous system to musculoskeleton to lungs to heart, everything has receptor for CBD. So your body produces that on a regular interval, but very small amount. Now, adding that CBD to it, giving the extra, has a million benefits beyond. I think the future of medicine is based on that. But THC part, no, I'm not going into that THC. I'm not interested in, because of side effects of it. And medically we see it. So one of the trend that we see now is pretty interesting. As the CBD, so the CBD is part of the THC for the marijuana. The plant had the CBD as a combined to it. So as this marijuana has become more concentrated, the less CBD it has, more concentration. Now a lot of patient comes in, younger kids with nausea, vomiting, cannot stop vomiting, they can't tolerate anything because of the effect of THC, and the counter effect of CBD is not there. So CBD is opposite of THC. If you can,
sure,
it keep that balance, so you could get the benefit of THC without worrying about side effects. So now that has disappeared because of all the strains that have become so stronger. So CBD internally, they does so much for you. I mean, it's unreal in which capacity. The problem is that it's how you produce it. And it has to, it's a fat molecule, literally. It has to be mixed with a specific material in order to get absorbed in your body. Whether it's topical, whether it's gummies, whether it's drops, whether it's capsules, whatever it is, the absorption is a problem. So therefore you can see, I mean, I walked into a new frontier today, as I was telling you. I don't know, there's about 40 different brands of CBD. I don't know what is what anymore because I can't really decipher who did what kind of work. So it's not regulated. And it's hard to find the right one that is regulated that works. Now, I give you an example. I went to I was involved with a big company down in Denver, Colorado. And as I was there as a consultant, and they did this formulation and they sent it to me 3 times, and all 3 times I said, do not send this to patients because it's just not the right one. It gives you nausea, vomiting. It's just, you guys didn't do the process right. And they're scientists, and they said, hell no, this is good enough. I don't know what you're talking about. The company went bankruptcy and lost millions. So there's a lot of them every day. There's companies that people make in their kitchen. They just get the CBD, mix it with whatever lotions they get from Walmart or Target or whatever. They mix it together, put it on a bottle, ship it, and there we go. That's the CBD. So it's really hard to find the right CBD, and that's the challenging part. Do I use it for my patient? Topical, absolutely. I mean, it works amazing, right? It's huge anti-inflammatory processes. I use it as a capsule for chronic pain patient, and we have worked with the addiction medicine physicians to get patient off of pain medication, and it works like a charm. It reduces stress, anxiety, depression, emotional awareness. So it affects you in every possible level in a positive way. Granted, there's no THC in it, and so that becomes the second question, whether it is pure or not. It is whether it's full spectrum or not. Does it have all the goodness? Am I gonna get it? Is it gonna get absorbed or not? So that part is what I would say. I don't know which brand that you take. I work with a couple brands, and I'm very confident about those. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna probably launch a brand into that, after 3-4 years of working on it. So that's the only thing. But otherwise, CBD is safe, doesn't alter your, brain. And as a physician, it's hard to tell because there's really no clinical trials that has been published as of yet, but they're working on it, with the exception of there's 2 drugs that are FDA approved for seizures, and those works, but these are extremely high concentration of CBD to stop the seizures. Other than those 2 drugs, FDA is against it. So that's the problem, that you cannot sell CBD. It's an FDA level. In a federal level, it's illegal. In the state level, it's legal. So they're being retarded, right, as usual. I mean, how could you have 2 different laws applying to one thing? And the state says you can sell, federal says, as a physician, I can't prescribe it, but you can buy it from, anywhere.
Is that because it has the kind of negative connotation attached to it?
Yes. So what it was so when we don't want to change as a country, we don't want to change, right? We don't want to progress. We find ways to stop things. So what happened was, because marijuana is an illegal substance according at the federal level, because this hemp or the CBD comes from that same plant, so that's become illegal, even though it doesn't have any THC in it. It just doesn't make sense, but since when's politics makes sense, right? Yeah. So it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, wait a minute. So yes, I get it, THC, whatever, illegal, but CBD. Why would you make CBD? Even though you have a drug at FDA level that you have approved for seizure, certain disorders, but yet now you consider it illegal and I can't prescribe it, which is just really silly. But you can buy it, right? You can go any store, you buy it. So it's just weird. But other than that, yeah, I love CBD.
Well, the CBD, can they pay for, or do they have to get it, I guess, checked out by whoever powers may be to say full spectrum or not full spectrum?
The problem is not, yes, you have third party testing. They'll tell you exactly how many milligram of CBD, and that's another part. When you do it in your kitchen, you don't know how much you get.
Yeah.
You just put a scoop of this and a scoop of that, and there we go. But some of the good brands that you want to go and that's third party testing. That's not the problem. The problem is the delivery mechanism. And that is the challenging part. You got to find the right delivery mechanism to mix it so it gets in and gets absorbed. And that becomes very challenging. And your mom's and pop shop cannot do that.
Have you done research on different CBD companies that exist?
Every day that you log in, somebody loses, somebody shut down, a new one opens. Every day. I mean, there's just so many of them. The Charlotte Web was the first one, and it was big, and everybody, that was it. And just run out of business. Somebody else bought it. Just they shut them down because this process doesn't work. So really, I mean, top of my head, as I said, I worked with a couple companies. They went bankruptcy because of bad business management. So if you go out there, I can't endorse any of them. Just say, hey, this is good. I just haven't, because there's so many one. As soon as I focus on one, and that because of the practices, the way they do, and then they shut down, the next brand pops in.
Have you heard of CBD MD?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the one that's kind of I think the biggest promoted one, at least with like lots of the podcasts and YouTube channels and such. What are your thoughts on that one particularly?
So I think, I mean, they're better regulated and they better probably studied. Once again, one of the things that is really scary is that putting your name behind any brands as a physician, right? So honestly, I haven't dug deep into that company, who they are, what they do, what is their process, how they extract this, what is their base molecule they use for absorption and reabsorption, all that stuff. I just don't know, so I can't tell you that what it is. What I was doing mainly initially is in educating the physicians, doing lecture series for physicians so they could benefit from understanding. And also there's interaction between CBD and medication that you're taking. So I wanted the physician to be well aware of those challenges they're going to face, because everybody's taking it nowadays. So I want the physicians to be well informed. So when they prescribe, they have to ask the patient whether they take CBD, because nobody says, it's like nobody asks you if you're taking vitamin C. Nobody's going to ask you if you're taking CBD, but it's something that everybody's taking it. So for a physician, we have to be extremely careful, because some of this drug interaction happens with CBD while you're on CBD. So we have to be mindful of that and change the dose of some of medication.
Are there things that CBD could take the place of in terms of medicine?
A lot. A lot.
Do you think that's the reason why they're apprehensive, at least physicians are, at prescribing CBD? Or
we can't prescribe it because it's illegal.
I mean,
there's no medication.
Getting more in depth.
The powers be.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't like to lose money. Powers be don't like the money. So I always laugh as because we say, well, the technology is not there. Really, we spent 6 months. We came up with a vaccine. We used to spend 10 years. So let me get this straight. When we really need shit, you can get it done in 6 months.
True.
When it's not in your, it's like, what's the point? What is the point? Yeah, of course you're gonna kick the bucket down the road, and you're not gonna even focus on that. I guarantee you, a majority of disease, including some of the cancer, will be cured if we put the same effort as we put on curing or getting a vaccination for COVID at a short period of time. There's no way on the planet that we don't have the technology to solve some of these problems. Well, we don't want to. It costs a lot of money. We don't want to. Unless the government dumps billions and billions of dollars. So, one of the things, the vaccines came out with 6 months. Everybody's like, what the hell? That's unheard of. That's bullshit. They're cutting corners. No, they're not cutting corners. They got a shitload of money, and they don't have to wait around for phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. They didn't care about phase 1, phase 2. They got billions of dollars to do phase 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and if it didn't work, redo it again. They didn't care. When you develop a drug, usually it takes 10 years because you have to wait. Okay, research and development, phase 1. Then you have to wait. If phase 1 work, you wait and get money. Raise money for phase 2. Phase 2 work, you have to raise money for phase 3. Well, when you have a shitload of money, the government throws at you and say, here we go. Why do you care? You just go through the phases, and if it doesn't work, you repeat the process. So that the time frame is so much shorter. And now technology also caught up. Before, we used to do genetic processing, like recognizing the genes, right? Before, it took years. I mean, back in the days, we didn't have that, so it was just trial. Now, one day, few hours, and I'm sequencing a virus gene. I know exactly how it behaves. I know exactly what to do, where to change to make those changes. Without me blink of the eye, 2 days and I'm done. Now the rest is just making those changes and putting in a vaccine. Those days are gone anymore that people spend 10 years to make vaccines. Technology has changed. So if they want to do things, they can. But if they don't want to do things, it takes it slow, nice way, and it takes years to develop.
Wow. I'm learning so much about the back end of everything and how it works. And, as just a spectator, a mere spectator on the outside looking into these big, big pharma or big corporations, big, things in general, like even like the onset of the vaccine. It's just to have a different outlook or to understand a different perspective, because like yourself, which is actually immersed in that thing, it's so enlightening, and you've definitely opened my eyes to a lot of things regarding that. Not only just that, like the process of the vaccine, but let's say just the way that physicians themselves look at people, and that it's not that they're like, this is one of the big takeaways I took from this conversation, that they're not bad people inherently. They just are so focused and hone in on one thing. They don't have time, and the way that the system is rigged, they don't allow time to.
Now we sound like Trump. The system is rigged.
or whatever. However you want to word that.
I like it.
that the way the system is put together, that they don't have the requisite time to spend with the people at learning them and consulting with them and actually being able to care on the level that patient wants them to care on.
I think once again, the first thing as a physician, you take an oath to do no harm and take care of people. And that's it. For the next 12 years, as you're forced, to do that. And you're not it's hard to deviate from that. But, personalities are different. Bedside manners are different. And I always tell my family, when they go in and inside the hospital, they have some doctors that with the shittiest attitude, you just don't want to talk to them and say, leave me alone. But sometimes you say, hey, listen, Mom, that's the best doctor. Forget about his attitude. Focus on what he can do for you. Don't worry about his shitty attitude. So, sometimes, as they say, it's hard. It's a hard job. It's a lot of, I work at the hospitals mainly. So think about it. When I went to COVID hit, I lost more people in 2 years than 15 years of practice combined. Do you know how hard that is to get up every day, going to work? Somebody's gonna die. It's not like you don't know. Somebody's gonna die in your hand, in your care. And then when you go in there and you say, I'm gonna catch COVID because I'm constantly exposed to these patients, and I might bring that COVID back to my own family and put my own family in danger day in, day out for 2 years straight and beyond. You know how stressful that is? To go to literally a war zone, people are gonna die, and to come back that you're putting yourself at risk and your family at risk every single day. That was the worst 2 years of my life as far as physician concerned. I don't know how mentally a lot of physicians got over it and how I got over it, because I always have a different perspective in life and see the good of things, of saving. Yeah, I lost one, but I save another, 100. That's, so that gives you some sort of some sort of calmness or some sort of reason for you to move forward. But otherwise, man, there's nothing in the world, there's no professional, including being a soldier, that you go through that on a constant basis. That you're gonna go, somebody's gonna die, not one, not two, not three. I had families dying, a whole family. So, I mean, those things you add on to these, it builds up on physicians practicing medicine. And now you come in with a headache or you had a broken arm. Well, you're not gonna get that fuzzy person because he just lost somebody in there. It's funny, one of my PR persons, they told me that, Dr. Nooristani, we gotta get your Instagram up. You got to do something nice and fun. Why don't you do one of those dances with the nurses in the background? And I said, are you freaking kidding me? I said, are you serious? People are dying. You want me to dance on the I can't, like, how am I gonna dance with somebody's just dying there? Or I just delivered the message to somebody's family, said, hey, your dad died, And I think I'll tell you a story that just heartbreaking. I had a guy come in to visit his family from San Diego. His mom had COVID. He got COVID. They both end up in the hospital. And the guy, he wasn't doing well, and he died. He was 42, 43, and he had a couple of kids that came in from San Diego to visit with their mom. And the little kid hold my hand, and 10 years old, he's like, please save my dad. I just love my dad so much. Man, that broke my heart. It was so hard. I couldn't, that haunted me for a very, very long time. I lost my dad when I was 4. So it was tough. So when you see all of that and all of a sudden somebody complaining about not getting their pain medication on time, they're pissed off or why physician had some attitude, put it in perspective. It's just challenging. So, sometimes it's, if you are, I tell everybody, if you think that your physician is not paying attention to you or you're not getting something out of him, don't get upset, change physicians. Find somebody who is, can relate to you and deliver what you need. And there are tons of other physicians who are flexible, capable, understand. They're good physicians, bad physicians, but so you have to go through. You're not gonna like it. You are a personal trainer. I've seen personal trainers in the gym for the last 15, 16 years. About 90% of them, I don't want to even talk because they're not in shape to begin with. So to me, it's like, oh, no, it's a turnoff, right? Same thing if I go to a physician, they're really bad. Unless I personally know them, they're good. I wouldn't put up with their attitude, practice, etc. So I'll go to somebody that I feel comfortable with. So, and there's always option. You're not limited to one physician or one practitioner, but you just got to go to the next one that you find that you feel comfortable with. But once you have that, then you keep that physician for, years to come.
You said something very, very, very profound to me, at least. You said, when I took the oath, or when I was taking my oath as a physician, that basically means that you uphold an integrity to, or rather an integral position to always dispense with what's right to people. And I think that sometimes the oath gets lost in translation when it comes to practicing in real life. And I think that just from our conversation and our interactions, that's probably something that you uphold constantly. You're always thinking about remembering your oath that you took. And that's important because it's a symbol of integrity. It's a symbol of character. It's a symbol of moral compass to that person, individual, such as yourself, like the physician, or even people that just are in charge of people in general, whether it comes to their bodies, like myself, it's on a far, attenuated level, I just deal with people's bodies and getting them stronger, helping them feel more empowered, and in terms of the exercises and understanding the exercise, what to do, how to implement these things. But you're in control of people's health. And so when you take your oath and you remember the oath you took, it helps you to put things in perspective on the daily, I would imagine, to uphold that integrity and that sort of counsel and that direction, the navigation for people.
You're absolutely right. As I said, so medicine is prevention, right? Prevention is a lot better than being reactive to things, right? So as a nation, we're bad. We're not a proactive nation. We are a reactive nation. We have the best medicine in the world, but yet we rank number, 50, right? We wait till you break your leg, then we give you the best orthopedic surgeon. And we just don't tell you, hey, you're old, make sure you use a walker, right? Simple things. So prevention. So what you do is exercising and getting these people their body and help them with their nutrition. You are preventing them from coming to the hospital and seeing me. So your job is as important as our job, because you're doing the first step of thing. Don't get sick. And the way to not to get sick, exercise, eat right, eat healthy, and focus on your body. So without that, you're going to see a lot more. So you weren't here, people like you weren't here, nutritionists weren't here, gyms weren't here. We're going to be seeing hundreds of more patients, right? So you are part of that system, that cycle that prevents, that help, that saves life. Even though when you're saying, hey, I'm a very micro, no, that's not true. You're not on a micro level. You're a macro level. You're big here because you are transforming those people's lives on a daily basis. Because if you didn't, they will be obese. They will not eat. They will end up with a heart attack and a stroke in the hospital. So yes, we all have a role to play, and we all have our part to play. And whomever is honest with themselves, they will do a great job. As long as you're honest with you, you will be perfectly fine in whatever you do, because you hold you accountable, nobody else. Right? You work out, you said you work out constantly, and you push yourself because you're honest with yourself. Your time is important. You're there to work out. You're not going to chit chat. You're not going to go, play around. You're not going to just lift 5 pounds, and you're not going to do 2 sets instead of 10, because you're responsible for you. You are taking responsibility for yourself. You're honest with yourself, and that is the key. If everybody did that, I don't think we're going to have a lot of problems.
And I think it kind of just levies on standards, because it's really the way I work is predicated on a standard that I uphold and I keep to myself. And that's, I've exhausted this ad nauseum on the podcast, but it bears repeating. When you hold yourself to a certain standard, you don't want to break that standard. You don't want to not meet that standard. And if anything, you go above the standard. And then what happens is you develop this streak, so to speak, this quote unquote streak where you don't break that standard. If anything, you uphold it, and you might even surpass it. And that becomes now the baseline. So you've effectively moved your baseline up from where it was maybe, years prior, a little bit up to where now you meet a different higher standard. You operate on a higher frequency. And because of that, you only accept certain things. You only accept the best, or the best is subjective to the person, but you set a standard and you meet that or you surpass it. And that keeps you in check, and that keeps you evolving, and that keeps you a beneficial person, not only to yourself, but to people around you and how you interact and what you attract, etc. It all kind of has a domino effect in the end, and the opposite is true. If you don't hold yourself to a specific standard, you allow things to fall by the wayside, then you oftentimes will not attract the best in your favor, or the most opportunity, or the best people around you. And people won't even want to probably be affiliated with you, because you don't hold yourself to a certain standard. And that old saying, winners fuck with winners, losers fuck with losers. That is very, very, very true. You do not see a winner interacting with a loser on a continuum. It's maybe a conversation here and there, but it's never the two coincide. And they live together. They don't operate together. They're not in their same circle. And so when you end up setting a standard, you set goals, etc., you try to become better as a human being, not only for yourself, but for people that interact with you, you just always, it just kind of becomes a default behavior. You just always try to meet that standard or surpass that standard. And I think that's what you're doing with medicine. And that's what you're doing with your supplement line. And just you remembering the oath you took.
Yep. As I said, if the only reason you're going to improve and get better, if you're going to study, if you're going to read, you're going to expand your knowledge of who you are, what you are. Being stagnant is the minute you stop, you are going to be stuck in a place where you're not going to like it 10 years from now, 5 years from now, because it's constant movement toward betterness will make you a better person, better human being. So, and holding it at a higher standard, right? And that becomes so important to everybody, because if you don't have a standard, then you cannot strive and you cannot be better, because then you'll be satisfied with whatever. Right? Because how we could have a standard, not have a standard, and not be satisfied. Anything satisfy you when you don't have a standard, right? Anything.
True.
I mean, if I want to go to the gym, I just chit-chat 1 hour. Oh, I spent an hour at the gym. I'm satisfied I went to gym. But if you didn't have a standard of, hey, I got to do 45 minutes, I got to do this set, this rep, this money, and get better the next time I go, you will never get better. So as you said, having a standards is important. Having a high standard is even more important. You keep on shifting that standard, not downward and upward. And as you move upward, you will see things a lot more clearer anytime you're taking a leap of faith on a higher level. Because as soon as you get to a certain level, you understand that going down is not an option.
Agreed. This has been an awesome conversation, man. I know you got a lot to do, man. But for those of the people listening, tell them where they can find you.
Instagram, Facebook, Dr. Nooristani, and then 04nutrition.com. We didn't talk about one of the most important nutrition that I wanted to talk. I know we're towards the end, but I want to squeeze in.
Yes, let's do it, please.
Balance7.com.
Balance 7. I remember we talking about that at the meeting.
So in the last 3 years, I've been doing research with a high pH concentrate. Now let me tell audience that do not mix that with high, alkaline water. It's not alkaline water per se. It's a alkaline concentrate. It has a pH of 11.2, which is 1,500 times stronger than your drinking water, about 200 times stronger than anything on the market available currently, and is safe. Only 3 ounces, 3 times a day, and it will transform your life. I'm taking it. My whole family's taking it. By the way, anything I do, my whole family's on it, because I'm extremely believer of your product that you create. You have to be the first one to try it and believe in it. And if it works for you, then you could safely and honestly tell other people how it is. So this product, we have done research with cancer patients who are on chemotherapy. They do so much better. They give them more energy. They come back, their fatigue and nausea and vomiting. I'm not saying to take care of your cancer by any means of shape, but I'm just saying it's a supplement along with other supplements like vitamin C and vitamin D that's gonna help you in that journey. For those of you who are athletes, it decreases the production of lactic acid once again because of the pH or increases the buffering capacity, and therefore the release of lactic acid gets cleaned up faster, so you're not as fatigued, and it helps out with your recovery. It's one of the purest product and one of the things that is transformational. And you told me what is next in medicine and what could be. This is one of those things along with CBD that's going to be transformational. Tons of research are underway. It's still at the beginning. A lot of people don't understand the concept of pH and what it does for you internally. And those are evidenced by people who are vegetarian people who are living in a certain places, a blue, as they call blue map or blue region, where their diet is more alkaline. They live better. Their risk of disease are so much more. And so this definitely impact you through time. This is not one of those products you say, I'm going to take this and I'm going to eat junk. No, this is, once again, this is a supplement to your healthy diet and healthy exercise and being fit. And so it supplement that. It helps you out in so many ways. It boosts your immune system. It decreases inflammation. It has so many effects, and it requires its own separate session. Maybe next time we'll talk about a couple of things. So I'll leave audience with that. That's balance7.com. That's the word balance, number 7.com. And you got O4 Nutrition, number 4 nutrition.com.
I love it. Well, we definitely will have you back maybe in a couple months when your schedule gets a little bit looser. I appreciate your time, doctor. Until next time, done.
Thank you so much. Whoa, that was great.
Nice, man. Whew. Almost 2 hours.
Oh my God.
Your phone was blowing up. It's all nice and cool out here.
I'm sweating like crazy.
I know.
We spent 2 hours.